All right, good morning, everybody. It is 6 a.m. approximately on a Thursday, and this is a day in the life video. So basically, most Thursdays for me are pretty stressful because they are the one day a week that I have to take both of my kids somewhere for a few hours. So I take them to their grandparents' house, and their grandparents watch them for a few hours so that I can do some therapy sessions. And it's really stressful because I think it honestly would be less stressful if I wasn't breastfeeding, but it's stressful because I have to get, I have to breastfeed, I have to get all the kids together, I have to get all my things together for my sessions for the day and all that stuff. So my day started out like any other day with a pumping session. I try and pump at 6 a.m. on Wednesdays and Thursdays, since those are my client heavy days, and then I block off like 9, 12, and 3 so that I can pump at those times and I don't have sessions at those times. Sometimes I accidentally do put people in those slots and then I just kind of pump around it, but for the most part I try to block those time slots out so that I can pump. But yeah, so this day started out okay. It kind of went south as the day went on. So here it's still just an okay morning. I think at this point it must have been around 6:30, 7 a.m. or something like that. Both kids were asleep, which doesn't usually happen. Usually there's at least one of them awake. Sometimes both of them are awake. But on this morning they were both sleeping, so I decided to get some documentation done while they were sleeping and eat some breakfast. Then when my daughter woke up, I got her ready for the day, did her hair, made her breakfast, and so here I'm just like doing 2 ponytails in her hair. You guys call them pigtails. When I was a kid, I used to think they were saying pink tails, and so I would call them pigtails, but I'm pretty sure they're just called pigtails. And so that's what I'm doing here, and that's basically her go-to hairstyle because her hair is too short to do much else with. And then I'm feeding my son his milk because then he woke up a little while afterwards. I guess I'm singing a song or something, I don't really know. But around here is when the day kind of went awry. So my husband came home from work and he's looking for something that the kids need for their insurance. So then I had to, while we were feeding him, I actually gave him to his dad, and then I helped his dad look for him. It resulted in me having to make an errand to pick up some things, but that doesn't happen until later in the day, and I'll talk about that later. But anyways, I'm pumping again, so it must be around 9 a.m. here. And looks like I'm doing some more documentation. My daughter's probably playing in her play area. My son is probably taking a nap because usually he takes a nap after that. After that first feeding that he has. Actually, it's more like a second feeding because he still wakes up at like 4 or 5 a.m. to drink some milk, and then he sleeps until later on in the day. Anyways, or sometimes it's 3. But anyways, I am now making cloth wipes. Pretty simple formula. I just use some coconut oil, some baby soap, and some water. Mix it all together in one of those cloth wipe dispensers, and then I just soak them in there, wring them out, fold them, and roll them up. Really, really easy. And I just have been doing that for a couple months now, a month or 2. And I like it a lot. I don't think I'll go back to disposable wipes because I think it gets them much cleaner. So a couple of things. Today, Thursday, I have a couple more things to do this morning before I drop my kids off at their grandparents' house. Their grandparents watched them for a few hours on this day so that I can do more counseling sessions. And so I have 2 today. And so they're just going to watch them for a few hours. But I have some things to do before then. Obviously, I haven't showered yet. I have to give my son a bath. My daughter needs her lunch. I'm sure I'm going to feed him again before I go. And probably after I drop them off, I will pump again one more time before I go into the office because my sessions are both in person. I also have an errand to run in the middle of my sessions, so it's going to be cutting it close, but I hope that everything works out because it's something that we definitely need like to do, so I have to go ahead and do that. So I realized that I forgot to take the meat out for dinner today, but as my husband pointed out yesterday, don't cook if there's leftovers. And look, we have leftovers, sloppy joes, and I made this yesterday pot roast. So this is from video before, this is from yesterday. So we're good, we're good. I can calm down, I can calm down. I just need to, I keep telling myself, set a reminder in your phone to take the meat out at night, or set a alarm, because reminders I sometimes ignore because I don't know. Sometimes I have this one reminder in my phone to call the student loan people to tell them I had another kid and a change in career. And that's important. I need to do that. But I called and I was on hold for like 20 minutes. And I was like, you know what? I don't have time for this. I had other things I had to do, including calling clients, I believe. And I think I had therapy sessions as well that day. And I was like, I don't have time to do this. So that has been in my phone as a reminder for like weeks now. I got to do that. Student loan payments coming up. I am not paying what they said I need to pay because I don't have that money yet. So, yeah, the struggles are real. But anyway, what am I saying? Oh, reminders. Yeah. I have a to-do list in my phone that tells me to eat lunch and breakfast, and that's where I'm at, and to shower and brush my teeth. That's where I'm at right now in my life, where I need those kind of reminders because it gets so busy and chaotic, and I get so focused on taking care of my kids and making sure I have everything I need to do for work and business, that like I forget the basic necessities of like self-care, which is, you know, bathing and cleaning my teeth. Like, so ever since I put those to-do lists in my phone, I have done that every day. So that's really good because I can just check it off like, oh yeah, I gotta do that. Okay, when can I do that? Okay. It's so yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna give him a bath. I'm gonna take a shower. I'm gonna brush my teeth. I'm gonna do my hair. And then I'm gonna feed her lunch and probably feed him one more time, and then we're getting out of here. Okay, so after this is basically where the stuff hits the fan for the rest of my day. You'll see what happens in a second, but one thing that I noticed in my response to the stress of the day was that I was very hyper focused on the objective and didn't take a second to like look at the bigger picture of things. Like for example, my responses to my daughter and basically just how I went about the rest of my day. I was very focused on just getting through this, this thing, that thing, the next thing. And I like looking back at this video because it helps me to it's just good to look back at yourself and see, oh, I could have done something else different, or, but not obsess over it, but just like learning from your mistakes, or just learning how to handle different ways to handle stress in the future. So I don't think I handled it horribly, but I know I could have handled it better. There's always room for improvement, but anyways, you'll see what happens next. New development. I took a shower, got dressed, was putting lotion on my feet, and I smelled pee. My daughter was next to me. I said, "Did you pee on yourself?" Nope, not just pee. She pooped. She pooped in these shorts. She's not wearing underwear because she was doing a really good job with using the potty. She was able to catch herself before it became a mess, and she would ask me to use the potty, and so that was working. So she hadn't had an accident in like a week. With poop anyway. With pee she had it once, but I think that was last week as well. And I'm just like, I could cry. You see, this is why I say that sometimes I'm not able to take a shower. Because when I do, the crap hits the fan. Like I'm so frustrated with the situation because she was doing so well. She was doing so well. I was about to put her in underwear to try it out. And now we have to start over again. This is just so freaking frustrating. I could cry at how frustrated I am right now. I could literally cry. I'm just gonna take deep breaths. Like my husband says, this is temporary. She won't always be like this. One day, she'll be able to use the potty all on her own, and this won't be a problem, but other things will. Do not color on that. She's using pencil now to color on the sink. This is my life. Hi, how are you? We have 45 minutes to get out of the house, too, by the way. See you later. Hi there. Okay, so something that I noticed as I was changing her clothes is that I had a moment of, what is it called? Negative self-talk. Like, you know, I even said it on video. I was like, I could cry right now. And I could feel the tears coming on, like the urge to cry about it. But then I was like, what did I say to myself? I don't remember, but I used cognitive restructuring in that moment. And basically what that means is that you change a thought that is unhelpful to something that is more true. Something that, because, what did I say? Oh gosh, I don't remember. But I don't know. I don't remember what I said to myself, but it was something along the lines of like this. Oh, I said, and I said it on camera. I said, every time I take a shower, like this is why I don't take showers sometimes, because every time I take a shower, the crap hits the fan. And it's like, that's not true. Actually, I have taken showers where everything was fine when I got out of the shower. She's hungry and I need to make her lunch. And so she's just gonna eat lunch there because we don't have time for her to eat lunch there now that that has happened. What was I gonna say? I'll make lunch and I'll talk to you at the same time. So instead of using that thought of like, oh, she, you know, every time I take a shower, the crap hits the fan and this is why I can't take showers. Nope, that's not true. What I tell my clients is, let's think of examples where that is not true. Because what happens when you do that to yourself is that like then your brain starts to almost believe it, you know, to be true, and thinks of all these examples where that was true, and then that makes you even more sad and you get into a cycle of depression and anxiety and all sorts of things. So I said, no, that's not true. Just the other day I took a shower and nothing happened. And that was fine, you know. And so sometimes it happens where I take a shower and everything's fine. In fact, sometimes it happens where I take a shower, she has to use the potty, she comes to me and she tells me, and then I get out of the shower and put her on the potty. So I don't know what happened this time, why that didn't happen. But you know, she's 2 and this is what happens in the 2-year-old's life. Accidents happen. Oh well. She's copying what I'm saying. So anyway, am I still a little stressed out about it? Yeah, a little bit. But it is what it is. So that's cognitive restructuring. It made me feel better because I was able to recall things that actually were true and helpful. And she just gave me a kiss and said, "You feel better." 2-year-olds are just so sweet. Like, how can you, even though I had a moment of like panic, like, and I, you know, was just like so focused on cleaning up the poop and changing her and getting out of the house. She's just still such a sweetheart. She's just a sweetie pie. So anyway, that's an example for you. So it's so funny because like people think that therapists, we have our crap together and we never get angry and we're super calm. And that's sometimes true. Like this morning there was a crisis and my husband was looking for something. We couldn't find it. We needed it for their insurance benefits. And I was just like, okay, let's just calm down. I was like, panicking is not gonna help us find it. It's gonna make it worse. So then we calmly looked for it. I was able to think of a solution to the problem. We're taking care of it today, or at least I am, and it's be fine. So anyway, yeah, this is why marriage is good. Like, you need each other to calm each other down, you know, in situations, and one person has to work and the other person, like me, has a flexible schedule. I can move things around and get things done that need to be gotten done. I don't know. Anyways, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and hurry up and get out of this house. Okay, so some things I just wanted to point out. First of all, I always tell my clients when I have, so usually when there's a problem with a child, the parent always assumes it's the child's problem and it's not their problem. And so they come to my office and they complain about all the things that the child is not doing right, and the child is sitting right there. And so for that reason, a lot of the times, if I know the child has like really maladaptive behaviors, I will call, I'll call the parent ahead of time and have like a private conversation without the child, because it's really not good for the child to hear the negative things that they, like, just harping on all the negative things that they do. So if the child is in the room, I like to also ask the parent, well, what does the child do well? You know, what do you think they're good at? What are positive attributes about them? Because it's helpful for them to hear that. And so I feel like for me, I was sitting here talking to the camera about her accident, and I don't know that that was a smart idea in that moment. I don't think that was good. I should have not done that. Okay, so I am back home. I dropped them off, and oh yeah, okay, so here's a story. There's a story for everything today, because it's just that kind of day. I go and I drive, and I realize I'm going in the opposite direction. So I turn around, and then I drive, and then I realize I don't have my son's bottles. And then I'm like, well, yeah, I have one bottle here. Could I, drop him off later? But then I was like, no, because I have to run this errand. I have that appointment at 2:30. And so I can't, that has to happen. That's like a really important appointment. I cannot move it. So I have to go ahead and just turn around and go, and so we got there around 12:10, and I wanted to get there before that. I wanted to leave at 11:45, get there at 11:55, 12 o'clock-ish. So I was behind. And so now it is 12:30. I was supposed to pump at 12. Okay, I had set my time up, my schedule up in my head to be able to pump at 12. And that, or around 12, so that I can be in the office by 1 o'clock for my session. So that's not happening. It's 12:30 now. If I pump now, I'll probably be late for the thing, or I won't be able to finish pumping, and I'll still have milk in my breasts. So I'm just going to have to wait to pump until after that appointment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my pump stuff with me. I'm going to pump in my car after the appointment, and then drive to do my errands that I have to do. Or maybe I'll just come home and I'll pump at home and do the errands. I'll come home and I'll pump at home to do the errands. And I'll pump at home and then I'll do the errands. And I have a 3 o'clock appointment. And then I'll pick up the kids. And then I also realized that the food that's left over, it's not enough to feed us all for dinner. So I am going to actually cook today. But I forgot that I had found a recipe online on YouTube that I want to try at home. And so I did buy the stuff for it. And I do have cooked chicken already done, and ready. I just need to shred it and put it in the noodles that I'm using. So I'm using stuffed Alfredo chicken Alfredo noodles type stuff for dinner. I forgot that was the plan today. So I was like, I didn't put out meat. Well, I didn't have to put out meat because the chicken's already cooked. So anyway, I'm having, yesterday was a stressful day too. And today's a stressful day. And I'm getting the sense that anytime I have to go into the office, it's a stressful day for me. Because it's not even just the chaos of the morning. It's you never know, with toddlers and babies, you never know what's going to happen. They go by their own beat of their own drum. And you can try to schedule things, but then things happen, like someone poops in their pants, you know? A baby pooping in his pants, no big deal. I expect that. But my daughter pooping in her shorts, that threw me off guard. And then afterwards, she spilled a box of crackers, which was no big deal, because it took like 2 seconds to clean up. But it was just like, come on, kid, come on. You got to get it together. So, let's take a whew, out of my body. Oh my goodness. It's just been a day. And so I'm thinking that, like, and I told my contractor this, like, I am not doing any more in-person sessions. They're going to have to be virtual from now, because I think that it's adding stress. And I've already noticed a small decrease in my milk supply. I'm making about 2 ounces less than usual on these days specifically. The other days, it's normal. And it's not a huge deal because I'm already an oversupplier anyway, but I'm an oversupplier so that I can save milk, so that I can stop pumping sooner, you know, so that he can have, you know, be breastfed until like at least 1, you know. So that is the goal here. And yeah, so I'm just like, oh, why did I do this to myself? You just don't know what life is going to be like when you go back to work with kids. Like, I thought I would know because I had a kid already, but like having 2 is different than having 1, and having 3 will be different than having 2, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, everything. I'm glad that most of my clients are women who have children, because they understand. If something comes up, they get it. It hasn't happened often that something has come up where I've needed to, like, my life has interfered with my career or anything. But it has happened occasionally, and I think that's normal for anybody. But like, I'm just like, I don't like for things to be that way. And so it stresses me out a little bit. Whereas my clients are just like, it's fine, no big deal. But in my head, I'm like, oh, they're going to want another therapist. Oh gosh. And then I talk to them and they're like, it's okay. That's fine. No big deal. I understand. And so, yeah, it's just a me thing, I guess. That I have social anxiety disorder, as I've talked about on YouTube before, but because of that, I have a tendency to overthink social situations. And I think that this is one of those cases where that happens. But I also recently had a job where, and I talked about this job so many times, I had a boss who really stressed everybody out all the time. And she was really against, working from home. Even though she allowed it, she would just complain about it all the time. She was really against, it seemed like she had a vendetta against working moms for some reason, because she gave us all a hard time, even though she herself was a working mom. Her kids were grown, so maybe she's just far removed. I'm just cleaning up my daughter's mess of food that she just left down here. So maybe she is so far removed from that she doesn't remember what it's like, but she just gives people a hard time. And so I have some anxiety from that too still, because I still expect that everybody's going to act this way, and people don't act like that in real life. It's just her, and she has her own issues that she has I believe that she has mental health issues that are undiagnosed and untreated, that she projects onto everybody else. But anyway, but because of that impacted me greatly, to the point where I do have concerns about things that I probably shouldn't, that are just normal life circumstances. And yeah, it impacts me. So I have to remind myself of that often, like she's not normal, and that's not how normal people react to situations. And so other people are probably not going to react that way either. So just let that go. Man, there's something to be said about toxic bosses, I tell you. Anyway, I have to go, and I will talk to you later. Okay, so I went and did my errand, and then I went to rushed back because the errand took a few minutes. I mean, it wasn't too long, but by the time I was done, it was like 2:50, and I had to drive directly back. So I'm glad that I brought my pumping stuff with me because I actually need to pump. I have not pumped. I should have pumped at 12:30. It's now 3:30, and I'm feeling the effects of having not pumped for 3 hours. In fact, this should be my fourth pumping session of the day, and it's gonna be my third instead. So that's where I'm at right now today. My 3 o'clock was a no-show, which basically means I had an appointment, they didn't show up for it, they didn't call to cancel, they didn't do anything, kind of like ghosting me. And I called, no answer. So that happens. Unfortunately, that happens very often in private practice. People forget, things come up in people's lives, especially in the mental health field. I'm just getting my pump stuff together and putting my pump on right now because I'm gonna drive and pump, and then I'm gonna stop and get some lunch because I have not eaten yet any lunch. And I have to pick up my kids at 4, so I have about 25 minutes, so I may as well stop and grab some food. But before that, I am definitely pumping because my boobs feel, I can feel my nipples tingling right on the dot of when I usually pump. So I was talking to my clinical supervisor, or one of them. I have like 3 clinical supervisors, and the reason why is because anyways, I'm not going to get into that right now, but I have 3 clinical supervisors, and because that's a long story of why. And so I was talking to one of them, and she was saying that, like, I was just telling her about having to adjust to having 2 kids and the problems, and she doesn't have any kids yet, but she was kind of like, I guess I gave her an idea for, like, as far as self-care. Like, I used to journal. I think have I talked about this on YouTube? No. But basically I used to journal, and it was like a prompt of like, what are you thanking God for today? Or where did God show up in your life yesterday? What are you praying for God for today? And what scriptures are you grounding yourself in? And I used to do that every morning. Actually, I think I did talk about this on YouTube. But I used to do that every morning when I was pregnant, along with my devotion and sermon, like you see me do now. And now I just don't feel like I have time. I mean, I feel like it's already takes out so much of my day just having to sit and pump in that morning while I'm listening to my devotion and sermon, that like if I took an extra 10 minutes or whatever, it doesn't take that long to do sometimes it takes me a longer time to do the journal prompt because I'm really trying to think and reflect on it, and try and find the scripture that really speaks to me that day, that I need to hold on to. But I just feel like sometimes my daughter really wants my attention, and it's hard because I'm like, okay, I need to listen to the pastor, I tell her. And so she knows what that means, that like I'm listening to the pastor, and I can't, play with you right now, or I can't, do that right now. So that's basically, I should have put my seatbelt on first, huh? Maybe it doesn't matter. I've done this before, but usually it's because I'm in a rush. I'm not really in a rush right now. All my appointments for the day are done. Ouch. It always hurts to have a letdown. Oh, she was talking about making like a shared journal for all of us so that we can like journal what we're feeling, like, something, just a sentence about something. And like to share it with, the team, and you don't have to put your name on it. It can just be like a general, what is that on my window shield? It could just be like a general, journal. I don't know. It was just an idea she thought of while we were talking. So I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but maybe it'll help me. I don't know. I was talking about needing to set boundaries more in my life. Having to adjust to having 2 kids is hard. Having it, like, every time you add a member to your family, there's an adjustment period. And especially for the parent that is doing a lot of the caregiving. For me, I mean, that's me, because my husband has a more rigid schedule than I do. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some lunch. I was thinking, like, there was this article about this guy that I guess he got like arrested for, I don't know, he like exposed himself to a teenager at the Culver's drive-thru, and after it's not funny. It's not funny. But I'm just thinking about, like, me driving up while I'm pumping. Would I get, like, the police called on me or something? That's why I'm laughing, because I'm like, should I cover this? Maybe I can cover it a little bit so it's not obvious. Is that obvious to you? Hi, stretch marks. Excuse me. There we go. Now it just looks like I'm hiding something. Maybe they'll think I'm going to bomb the place or something. Oh, she's got a bomb. No, it's just breastfeeding. Okay. Anyways, I'll check back in with you guys after I pick up my kids. I'm going to go grab my lunch. And then I'm going to pick up the kids. And then I'm going to... Actually, I think I'll stop home after I grab lunch, because I need to put this milk in the refrigerator after I pump it out. But after that, then I'll pick up my kids, and then I will probably check back in with you, because I'm going to start cooking dinner when I get home. So, all right. Guess what I didn't do? I did not eat lunch that day. Actually, by the time that I got going, it was time for me to pick up my kids. So I just went ahead and picked them up, and then I just skipped lunch that day and cooked dinner and then ate dinner. And that doesn't, I think that part of it too was just recording a video on one of my most busiest days threw me off. But also, like I said, she pooped her shorts, which threw me off. That has not happened in such a long time. I don't know what that was about, but anyways, so I wasn't able to feed them lunch at home, I wasn't able to feed them lunch at home, and so they had to eat lunch at their grandparents' house. And yeah, basically, anyways, it was a stressful day, and I think Wednesdays and Thursdays are typically pretty stressful for me, and by the time Friday hits, I'm exhausted and I don't want to do anything at all. And so yeah, I talked to my husband, I think it was that day or the day after, about just feeling like I'm beginning to get burned out. And so we talked about how he can be helpful, and some self-care days that we both need, how we're gonna like basically divide up the self-care on different days of the, like, so basically Saturdays are gonna be my mommy's days to like just do what I want to do to take care of myself, and then Sundays will be his days to relax. Not to say that we're not gonna like be bothered with our kids those days, but like, for example, this past weekend I went to lunch with a friend on Saturday. I was gone for a few hours, and really that's all I needed. I felt good after that. So just like a few hours of self-care to just like unwind, relax, whatever. That's what I needed, and that's what I'm going to be doing going forward. We talked about it. We even set a little bit of a budget in case I want to spend some money. And so yeah, so that's what we're doing. And I think that that's important in a marriage, is to have the open communication about that. It's really hard for me because people in my family, they don't usually talk about hard feelings. It's more like if you're struggling with something, you bottle it up, or you let it out in anger, but you don't really talk about it maturely. At least I never saw that happen, or I rarely saw it happen. And if it was talked about, it was more like it's your fault, like blaming people. So very immature, emotional, like strategies that were used in my family of origin. I love my parents, don't get me wrong, but yeah. So it took me some growing, and it still takes me some growing to like talk to my husband and ask for help and ask other people for help too when I need it, or and be honest about how I'm feeling, about getting burned out and things like that. I also had to set boundaries at work. I used to be somebody who would just say, yes, I'll take that client. Yes, I'll take that client. Yes, I'll take that client. And, you know, just a yes person. And I've had to say no to some opportunities, just because I just know I can't handle it right now. And I've had to do that. I've had to be honest about my boundaries. Setting boundaries with clients. If I have really high needs clients, you know, just being stern with my boundaries. No, I don't see clients on Mondays. I will not add people to my schedule on Monday unless I feel like it's absolutely necessary. I used to break those boundaries all the time. I used to think that just because someone suggested, oh, let's meet on whatever day it is, that I usually wouldn't be meeting somebody. I used to think that it meant I had to do it. And now I understand that it means it's just a suggestion. You know, when I tell clients, no, I'm not available that day or at that time, they're like, oh, okay. And then they give me another time or day, and it's not a big deal. But in my head, I always made it a huge deal. And so it's a growth mindset for me. I think being a mother has forced me to have to really pay attention to my needs in a way that I have never had to do before, and actually have to rely on other people, because I don't like relying on other people. I don't trust people to do what they say they're going to do, and never really have. So it's just been a period of growing for me, and I think it's kind of a blessing in disguise. Children will grow you and stretch you in ways you did not think. And so I'm pretty grateful for that as well. So yeah, and other boundaries I'm setting boundaries I'm setting in my private practice are, I used to do weekly newsletters. I'm changing that to bi-weekly now. And then I also have changed my blog from weekly to monthly. I just can't keep up with writing things every week. And I also want to make sure I do these videos weekly, because they're fun and I like doing them, and I like to watch back my day and, like I said, like critique, you know, kind of the things that I did that I could have done differently or better. And I think it shows people open and honestly, like, counselors are human beings. We make mistakes. Our lives are not any more perfect than yours. We just have the ability usually to self-reflect and self-correct and calm ourselves down before we get to a point of like feeling overwhelmed. So I'm hoping these videos help other people, you know, to just kind of like be open and honest about what they're dealing with, and also to, you know, ask for help when you need help. That's something that I am still learning how to do. So I hope that you get something from these videos. Yeah, because I definitely want to make a priority to do these every week. So yeah. Yep, this is the dinner I made that night. It was pretty good. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Bye.